If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for the night. And I'll let the window open, baby. Leave our key outside the door. We don't need to tell nobody, but I think I'm ready to belong. Only for the night. If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for the night. And I'll let the window open, baby. Leave our key outside the door.
All right, I think I popped this off maybe a hair early, but we're live, and I got a mustache. A whole lot of other things happened this week, so get ready for a different show. And hey, I'm glad you like that song, Lamont. It's a good one. Get ready for a different show because we have no auctions today. Because we're over the holidays, we're doing the Buy It Now feature, but I have a story for you. And so the show won't be overly long today, but again, I have a story for you. Well, let's first start things out here, shall we? Let's make sure we keep the tradition alive and thank Mr. Nissan for sponsoring the show. Thank you, Mr. Nissan. And we are drinking again today, don't tell my wife, but a Mad Butcher. All right, let's have this one. Oh, God, that sounds so good. It spills because it's Mad Butcher. I don't think I have a post office run today. I already went this morning because we're doing some Buy It Nows. I've been selling some stuff Buy It Now, which is a positive because I feel like the prices I set were pretty high. And so maybe I have to restructure a little bit and look into things. We'll do auctions still, but some items might be Buy It Nows. All right. So what happened this week? We should get into the meat and potatoes of the story, shall we? So I have a good friend. He used to work at the Mankato Brewery, believe it or not. And used to go there every Saturday with some friends, and we'd sit there and we'd yuck it up. And he helped kind of manage that area. And so, we got to know him, and, he's a good guy. And had his phone number with just the first name in my phone. And I don't really reach out to him a ton. So when he texts me out of the blue, it said something first like, "This is Kurt." Well, that's his name, I guess. I just spilled the beans there. All right. And he goes, it was just that. And I'm like, well, okay. It says his name, and he just said his name. And then it said, then another text came in with a phone number I didn't recognize and him saying that he'd like to reach out to me about something or another to help a friend. And I'm like, is this just like spam stuff? Like, did his phone get hacked? I don't know. So I kind of ignored it. And about a week and a half later, he reached out to me via Facebook and said, "Hey, Darren, did you get my text?" And I go, "I thought it was spam. What's up?" And he goes, "I have a friend that's looking to sell a ginormous video game lot and was looking for some help and guidance." I said, "Sure, I'll help." And, he gave me his name, and he was in there, and he said, "Hey, what are you looking to sell? What do you got?" And he goes, "A little bit of everything." I'm like, that's helpful. Because I'm thinking, what? I got some PS4 and 2 PS2 games. Well, that's great. So anyway, get into this deal. And he's like, my friend died. My best friend died. And he was an avid video game collector. And I'm trying to help his daughter sell these video games off, and was hoping I could, get some advice or whatever. And I said, well, here's the deal. I'm actually looking to buy a big lot right now. I need to replenish my store. And so I said, would you mind if I was just interested to come take a look at it and buy it? Then he gives me the address. It's about 30 miles away, whatever, New Ulm, right? And I'm like, all right, let's set up a time. How about, Saturday morning at 10? And he comes back and says, how about 11:15? Oh, that's pretty specific. So, all right. Well, anyway, we get an ice storm the night before, and of course the roads are slippery, but my wife and I still go. We make it on time. The roads aren't too bad. And pull up to this house. It's a small rambler. Nothing overly exciting. And there's a guy smoking in the front yard and another guy standing next to him. There's a plow truck in the driveway. And I get out. And I'm like, all right, hey, I'm Darren. This is my wife, Stacy. Here to buy some video games, maybe. Let's take a look at what do we got here, right? And we talked in the front yard for a little bit. It was really strange. They're very social people. Very social people. And we go around to the back of the house, and there's a back entrance that goes into like a cold storage room almost, but it's got like a heater. It's not part... I'm very confused with this house because that room wasn't heated in the house, and it had a heater in it, like a garage heater. Still confused. But anyway, maybe at one point a driveway went up in that it was a garage, and it was just kind of remanufactured. You think they'd cut vents in. Whatever. So get there, and we go down in there, and there's boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff. And start opening them up. And here we are. There's Nintendo. There's Super Nintendo. There's TurboGrafx 16. There's systems. There's Game Gear. There's Game Boy. Game Boy Color. Game Boy Advance. Game Boy DS. Game Boy 3DS. There's PlayStation 1. 2. No, 3, which is weird. 4. Xbox 360. Beatles, Rock Band. The whole setup. With the drums, even has a microphone stand for it with the big bass guitar. I'm just a little bit overwhelmed. And we start going through, some of the boxes. I'm really looking at a high level, right? I'm trying to think in my head, what, okay, how am I going to come up with an offer for this? This is like a lifetime collection. Now, granted, a lot of the games came from rental stores, which I sell a lot of games from rental stores too. Us collectors, that's how we used to get a lot of the weird games. And you would pick them up out of the rental store, and they'd have stickers on them, and sometimes we can get them off, sometimes we can't get them off. Okay? But I could tell somebody's gone through this because they said they had been organizing them, and he mentioned he took all the Nintendo 64 stuff and the N64 for himself. I'm like, oh, cool. That's a great system, But I open up this big box, and it's got 3 rows of 17 on top of NES games with another 3 rows along the side of 4, so another 12, 17, 17, 17, 12. And then I lift it up, and there's another whole setup of that again. And I'm kind of and I go to another box, and there's more NES games. So I'm kind of getting to the point, what is this? And then I start talking about how do you say it? I sell games. Okay? I got this weird YouTube channel. Mainly it's my friends watching it, but whatever. They're still selling games on eBay. And I'm generally selling games one at a time or in very small lots. I said, it's a lot of work. And I have a very similar collection to what you have here at my house. And part of the reason I got into this is because, how do you say it? I have no kids. Someday I'm going to pass away. And I don't want the burden on somebody else to have to go through this. Because selling the stuff, if they sold it just all as one big swing, kind of like what we're trying to do here, you're not going to get what you felt was worth to you. But at the same time, when you sell the stuff one at a time, it's like a full-time job at times. You got to clean the games. You got to test the games. I shoot a video of every game being tested. I try to anyway. So there's a lot of labor that goes into like a $20 or $50 sale. And what was cool is one of the guys there, he's like, no, I get it. I'm in business. I completely get it. And apparently he owns one of the pizza places in town, which is a pretty cool legacy in itself. So regardless, I go down in there, I'm digging around, and I'm thinking in my head, this box is worth this much, just roughly this much, this much, this much. And then I'm thinking, I need to cut this number back on my first, because I asked, what are you looking for? What are you looking to get out of it? And he says, well, we kind of have a number in our head, but we want to hear from you first. And I'm like, okay. I did bring my checkbook, and I have cash. And then I was kind of like, I spit out a number. I'm not going to say the number, I don't think, on the air here. But I spit out a number, and it really was kind of like my opening bid, but it wasn't willing to go that much further past it. And he said, well, let me call the daughter or whatever. And he calls her, but she didn't answer. And he came back and said, you know what? I think that's a fair offer. Let's just do it. And I'm kind of like, so we drove a Grand Cherokee there and literally filled up the entire thing with video games. Now, again, I haven't gone through this in a ton of detail yet. So I saw a couple of good titles in there, meaning I could tell that it hadn't been picked over, which would make me nervous, if that makes sense. But I felt like the offer I gave, I knew I'd get my money back on it with some elbow grease, for sure, and more, and a little bit on top, because, again, I'm doing this for profit. And I felt like the offer was good enough that, it would be fair. Anyway, she called back as we're loading the car, and I get this kind of like weird feeling. What if she says no? And I guess she was ecstatic. She was very happy with the offer. And I was able to give half of it in cash there, and I had to write a check for the other half. But, hey, it worked out. So let me show you here. 1 second here. I got to bring it up. A little video showing what it was exactly that I got. Okay. So this is, hey, look at, oh, this get angry with me? If I leave the screen here, it'll get better, I think. Shoot, how am I going to do this? Apologies, guys, apologies. I think this will work. All right, so this is kind of high level. It's Beatles Rock Band for 360. Here we got some Game Boy Advance stuff, and the whole bottom is just filled with Nintendo in this box. We got some Game Boy stuff, more, and all full Nintendo on the bottom again too. And in this box, I have 2 full layers of Nintendo games. This box here is PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 mainly, filled up two layers. And then here we have a single layer of NES games again. Here we have, what do we got here? Oh, I did get some of the toys. I didn't think I took this box, but I took it, I guess. Great. Then we got Dreamcast, actual system, a bunch of games, including some good ones. Gauntlet Legends is worth a lot of money. Gunbird 2 is worth a ton. We have a Game Gear system. We have a Sega Genesis there, and then we have a Sega Genesis, Sega CD combo. We have the mini Sega Genesis and a handheld Sega Genesis there. Another Sega Genesis. Jesus Christ. Alright, next box. Here we get kind of some GameCube and a little bit of Wii stuff. Some decent stuff in here, actually. Yeah, that's worth a couple bucks. This is worth some money. We have a Nintendo Wii, a red one. That's the good one. bunch of manuals, more Wii games, a power pad in the bottom of this box, Game Boy Color, all kinds of good stuff. This box here is the top part of it is PlayStation 1, and then we have PlayStation 4, a whole buttload of games. And here we have a Xbox 360 with a shit ton of games in it too. This box here, look at this, this is crazy. What's this? Oh, it's a C64 still in the box, the remake of it. I didn't really look at this, I suppose. So here we have TurboGrafx 16 stuff, a lot of it in the box still. A lot of games for TurboGrafx 16. And then we have the mini TurboGrafx 16 and the full-size TurboGrafx 16 down in there with the right hookups, it looks like. So, we'll see. Here, we've got some Super Nintendo action. Two layers. Top layer isn't full, but the bottom layer is full. And you see like Earthworm Jim 2. I mean, there's not sports games for the most part in this stuff. These are like legit games. Super Off-Road. Super Star Wars. Castlevania Dracula X. God damn. Alright, going to this box here. We have DS stuff, a lot of Sega Genesis, pretty good titles. Game Genies, Alice Dragon's Rare. What else is in there? Shadow of the Beast 2. I think that might be worse. I can't remember. Asterix. Ooh, Turtles fighting game. Turtles games for the Genesis are usually pretty good. There's Toe Jam and Earl I can see down here through the crack. Look at that. Woo! Alright, I got a couple more bins. A few more bins, I should say. Here we have a Sony PlayStation and a Sony PlayStation Mini in the box. We have a PS4 controller. And then a PS2 Slim down here, it looks like. PS2? Yeah, PS2. In this box, we have decent controller stuff and a GameCube sitting right there inside. Dig down in here. Could this actually be? Yeah, it's feeling pretty light. I don't think the Switch is in that box. NES Advantage. We have a Super Nintendo. We have the Super Nintendo Mini and the Nintendo Mini. And what's that down there? Oh, a HyperCon that plays multiple game systems. I've never owned one of those. And then this, did we already look at this? I think we did. Anyway, it's the Dreamcast again. With the Sega Genesis stuff. Yep, that was it, I think. Oh, yeah, that is it. Alright. Alright. Needless to say, I'm excited and was all terrified at the same time. But the good news is I've been testing a ton of games and everything's been working. Let's look at just a couple of the highlights I just pulled out for the show here. And this is just such a small portion of it all, right? Getting kind of lazy on my screen. I don't know why. All right. Here we go. We have... This is a really nice copy of the GameCube Zelda Twilight Princess. Complete in the box. It's got the extra pamphlet stuff behind it too. Beautiful game. Beautiful game. Here is Demon's Crest for Super Nintendo. The label is a little bit worn. But you know what? I hate to say it this way, but this is not a reproduction. People have been remaking these games and destroying the market, but if they're a little beat up, just saying. Dracula X? I mean, look, it's got a little bit of discoloration on top, but it is Nintendo plastic. You know how that goes. He was a smoker, but I've gotten rid of almost all the smoke smell so far with my ionizer. I've been running it like crazy in the garage with a lot of these games. So though, there's a couple there. And for the first time in my life, I own the whole set of Mega Man for Nintendo. 1 through 6. How about that? And they all work. So that'll be fun. We got... Okay, this is something else right here. If you know anything about collecting Nintendo, this game's worth some serious cash. Now, the box is not perfect by any means, but it's been put in this protective case, which has helped keep the integrity of the box. Inside it, it has both maps and the manual. Here's the game. The game's in beautiful shape. I mean, wow. 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 And then you start getting into the TurboGrafx stuff. So it had the original TurboGrafx 16, which is tested and working. The TurboGrafx Mini, which I put up for $200 yesterday, it sold right away. It's already got $200 back. That's wonderful. But now we have the real games. And there's money in these games, I think. Here we got. This is complete in box. Still has the cellophane around the base of it, and same with this one. Not the two most coveted games, but trust me, there was some money. You just don't come across TurboGrafx 16 games ever. Ever. We got Power Golf, lame. King of Casino, lame. Sports Football, lame. Then Legendary Axe. I've never played this. Sinistron. Raiden. Oh, that's one of my favorite shooters of all time. Devil's Crush. Are you kidding me? Alien Crush. Space Harrier. I mean, guys, I don't think you realize. Victory Run. China Warrior. Bonk's Adventure. Bonk. Bloody Wolf. Time Ball. Keith Courage. Gunboat. Double Dungeons. World Class Baseball. And last but not least, Bomberman. So, yeah. 200 some Nintendo games, 60 to 80 Super Nintendo. I haven't counted the Super Nintendo yet. Haven't really gone through. I just pulled out a couple that I just recognize, like, holy crap. Got some really rare Nintendo games. I'm halfway through going through the Nintendo games. Yeah, we're going to have some fun on the channel. We're going to be putting this stuff through the test. Like, oh, my hat gets crooked. And then, like, I make it so it's not reversed on my screen, so, like, the words are right. But it's like you're looking in the mirror, but you're not. So I get really confused because I can see myself this time. So if Stacy came in the gorilla suit today, I would have noticed. But normally I can't see myself because it's up there. But since we're not watching auctions, yeah, there you go. So anyway, yeah, so a lot to be coming. Again, I'm not putting up any live auctions. Just buy it nows until the holidays are over. So we'll probably kick it off. What would that be? The 1st? I think that's a Wednesday. And so on the 1st, auctions will go live. So I have things scheduled to go live on the 1st. And we'll start putting up some new things, some new blood. We're going to have a lot of Nintendo going for a while, I think. But I'll try to keep the mix. I'll definitely try to keep the mix. But yeah, even the Game Gear works. Like, Game Gears don't work. Like I had to get one recapped and everything, and just this one works. The Game Boy Color works. Just insane. So, all right. Well, shorter show. I don't have to go to the post office. Still might go to Big Dog tonight just for a couple. I don't want to drink a whole bunch today, to be honest, because we got into the pig races last night at Big Dog, and yeehaw, finished that half bottle of wine when I got home too. So, all right. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great day and a Merry Christmas. Take care.